hope I am public and everything is perfect. So far, it looks like I am public. Yup. Knew it. Usually, okay, I think I should wait for some people to join first as always before even saying anything, because it feels very stupid. Now I know there's gonna be a video later on, but still, you know, it doesn't sound right for some reason. Okay. Should I make a poll? Maybe I should. That is perfectly... That's too dark. Oh! Stop playing with me. That's better. That's way better. That's way better. Okay, so we're live. Finally. Looking like a tiny poll. Even though the poll sticker looks messy. But I think it's just a good thing to do. Oh, do you? Right looks better. It's too big. Why can't I keep it below? Okay, whatever. Okay, seems like that's the position. Maybe just here. Yeah, that's not here. Maybe here. That's perfect. Not perfect, I mean better. You know better. Well, let's see if it's... Hello? So I'm going to read some stories, of course. I know, a lot of people who will join actually are not using YouTube probably, because they're always texting me, commenting. Hold on a second, it's too loud. It's too loud! When are you gonna stream? They always keep asking me this, and I always repeat the same answer. I'm not a streamer. I do everything as a mixed. Like, I'm not a shorts creator just because I have a lot of shorts. I'm not a long form video creator only. And I'm not just a streamer. I'm like a mixed, you know? Sometimes you're gonna see a lot of shorts, but no long videos. Sometimes you're gonna see long form videos very consistently, but very few shorts. Sometimes you're gonna see a lot of streams and no videos, and every now and then some shorts. The reason is I'm a small creator. I have that flexibility, that freedom to do that, and the point is to make videos, like content, some way, somehow delivering some good content. Sometimes I'll tell you live stories, sometimes I'll tell you stories through long form videos, compilations, sometimes I'll tell you short stories through YouTube Shorts. It is what it is. This is the style, and that's how I love to work, you know? Oh, it might sound a little greedy, but it's smart, covering everything. Depending on my mood also. Depending on my mood. I have no problem to read it. Hold on a second, YouTube just notified me. You can use this audio track in any of your videos, including videos that you monetize. However, you must include why. It's a stream. I have to do all these things. Seriously? Okay, if you say so. Greedy. Nothing is free anymore, you know? Nothing is free anymore. What if I don't? Why do I have to do all these craps? As you said, I did whatever I was told to. Okay, let's read it out loud. The sun was The sun was a jagged, bleeding wound on the horizon as Miles and Sarah pushed through the Mojave. Mojave or Mojave, because sometimes J is like H if it's a Spanish word. Their old Jeep Wrangler rumbled with a comforting rhythm, the air conditioner fighting a losing battle against the dry, oppressive heat of the Nevada desert. They were happy, more than happy. They were hopeful. Miles reached over. That's too loud. That's too loud. That's too loud. I wish somebody was online, because I'm not sure how. Okay, somebody just voted. I don't know who. Whoever you are, welcome and thank you very much. I didn't do anything so far. Okay, here you go. Tanvir, welcome. I was about to read a story. I didn't read it properly yet. I was just starting. Welcome. I'm happy to see. Okay, that's too loud. Confirm if my audio is clear. Give me overall feedback, like can you hear the background music, can you hear the fan sounds, and stuff like that, basically. It's too hot to not turn on anything, you know? Like, I can turn on the AC only, but AC... I mean, I don't need an AC right now, it's not that hot. So just a ceiling fan, and it's fine. Thanks, bro. Nice to see you after a long time. Yeah, after a month, I think. After a month, I'm streaming. I just got busy. My computer wasn't working anymore, and I was busy fixing it. Then I had to buy some stuff, and now it's fine. Even though I'm streaming using a phone, but you know, when you're busy doing something, you're occupied basically. But I fixed it. But then I didn't stream because, you know, the momentum was down, kind of, but I made videos, I made shorts, of course, for the streams, basically. I wasn't here. I didn't stream on, but I did make videos, of course. It's not like I was off for good. No, it's not like that. Just a little break from streaming. That's it. As I already told you, I'm not going to stream all the time. Sometimes I will make a lot of shorts. Sometimes I will make a lot of videos. Sometimes I will stream every single day or every week, you know? It depends. Like, it depends like, it depends on my mood and feeling. Like, I can tell you stories using any format. Sometimes I'm gonna tell you short stories using YouTube Shorts. Sometimes I'll make compilation videos or long form videos saying long stories. And sometimes I will prefer telling stories live while chatting with you guys. It'll depend. It'll always depend. The point is, I will be consistent some way, somehow, through any format. So, how are you today? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good now. Not that great. Okay, what about the fan noise? Can you hear the fan noise? Can you hear the fan noise? I like the profile picture. You're holding two YouTube play buttons. One day, you will for sure. Hopefully. Just keep working. One day I will hold at least the silver play button, you know? That's the hope. I'll be happy if I can at least grab that one. So, okay. I see somebody. Welcome, whoever you are. No, I think I see total 4. So, Hihachi is online. Welcome, brother. Hello, Ghost Man. I wasn't expecting you at all. I'm just... thank you so much, bro. I pray to God that the hopes of your heart will be fulfilled. Same to you, brother. Same to you. I didn't start reading any stories yet. I'm just waiting for some people to join first, you know? I'm just... I'm just waiting. And I collected some stories, of course. But I'm not sure if I should read it out loud now. Okay. I'm not a greedy man, you know? I'll be happy if I grow decently big enough, you know? Like, maybe 100k. That would be perfect for me. Because, first of all, I don't think I deserve a lot of subscribers. Second, I don't think I can maintain this much fame. Because I feel like I'm gonna be overwhelmed with too much happiness. I love to feel grounded and like a normal human. I mean, of course I want to be famous. It's not like I don't want to be. That's the first goal. Second is making a living out of YouTube. But the first idea is to become popular enough. I think I buffered, right? I buffered a little bit. I buffered a little bit. Your pole is completely sitting on your face, which looks a bit strange. You can... Yeah, I know. I did that on purpose. How about now? How about now? I know I could, but I did that on purpose so that people point it out. You know? But if I make it too small, people won't be able to read it. Yeah, but it looks too small now. Can you read it? Can you read the poll now? Okay, that's better. That's better. How many likes I got? 2. 2 likes. That's not bad. Is the background music too loud? 2 volts. What the hell? There's no music playing in the background, bro. I can't hear it. Okay. Thank you for the feedback. What about now? What about now? There's no music. Okay, yeah, I just read that. I just read that! I think the music is being drowned out by the sound of the fan. That's possible. That's possible. But what about now? What about now? 3 votes. I think the music is too loud now. Okay, now I can hear it. But my audio is still loud enough, right? Okay, thank you very much. Your feedback really helped. So I'm gonna read it, because if I don't read it, YouTube gonna think it's a blank live, therefore it won't reach anyone. But you can hear my voice, right? Yes, bro, audio is clear. Thank you very much. So, let's read now. I already read that part. The sun was a jagged, bleeding wound on the horizon as Miles and Sarah pushed through the Mojave. This part is too loud. I don't like this part at all. The old Jeep Wrangle rumbled with a comforting rhythm. The air conditioner fighting a losing battle against a dry, oppressive heat of the Nevada desert. They were happy, more than happy. They were hopeful. Miles reached over, squeezing Sarah's hand as they spoke of the house they'd just put an offer on in Sedona. 3 bedrooms. Sarah, one of us, one for an office, and one for, well, you know, Miles said with a playful glint in his eyes. Okay, let me read that part again. I think I messed it up. 3 bedrooms, Sarah. Why is it quoting this? 3 bedrooms, Sarah. One of us, one for an office, and one for, well, you know. Okay, so it was said by him. Miles said with a playful glint in his eyes. Okay, that makes sense. Sarah laughed. Her hair... Some people don't know how to quote, you know. Sarah laughed. Her hair whipping in the crosswinds, she told him. A nursery? We haven't even finished the road trip, Miles. Let's survive the desert first. Okay, the universe, it seemed Okay, this is not even a creepypasta, I think. It's just... No, this is not fitting. I was reading a wrong story. This is not a creepypasta. Let's read this one. Unsealed file from the Esther Police Department case file. Is it a creepypasta? Okay. I think the music is very loud now, right? Let's just wait. Okay. That's good. Okay, let's read this one. The Lady Kutsu. It sounds like a horror. The chirping of a bluebird woke Robert out of his blank-eyed stare. His eyes refocused as his old hands went to rub them back into reality. Okay, I hear thunderclap. Their disappointed I think it's gonna rain. It's definitely gonna rain. Whenever it rains a lot, my network goes down. That's the annoying part. Oh, so you heard it. You heard it very loud, I think. You heard it out loud. It's weird. It's not reaching anyone today. It's because I'm streaming after a long time. And whenever you take a break, YouTube forgets who to recommend my streams, you know? This is something very stupid. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Did you gain any subscribers this month? A horror atmosphere is created, the clouds are... Yeah, exactly. This really fits, but I wish there were more people today. At least 10. But I'm not expecting today much. The chirping of a blue bird woke Robert out of his blank-eyed stare. His eyes refocused as his old hands went to rub them back into reality. Their disappointed scowls still staring bluntly ahead. Robert found himself sitting on his porch. He was fatter and older than he ever wanted to be. At a point in life where looking to the future meant buying his casket, and reflection made him worriedly angry and thirsty for a beer. 30 minutes already. His wife was dead. His son Joe called him once a year, and his daughter Carol was addicted to heroin. She lived out of town and never bothered to visit unless she needed money. Robert had very little to get up in the morning over, and now he had officially lost the last thing he really cared for, right here in front of him. Right here in front of him. Something he loved more than the most people love their closest family. It wasn't the Lord. Robert was a staunch atheist and held very little pride in his upbringing. It wasn't money. He lived off a monthly social security check and barely had enough to eat despite what his potbelly claimed. So he was like a fat old man and very lazy. He had no money, no respect, no woman. His friends were all dead, with a lifetime of work at a factory that moved to China. Yeah, I know you can see me, of course. Let me try a filter, but if I try filters, it's gonna lag the stream. That's the problem. That's the problem. How is the weather there? Is it rainy? Because apparently here it's gonna rain. I'll be slow with the stories because I don't have any audience at this moment, so I mean, of course I have you, but I need more so that we can enjoy the time better. And better. No! Bro, I can see you. It is an English horror. Okay, you're talking about. It's an English horror song. It's probably the Annabelle movie song. Okay, I didn't understand first. I thought you were telling me that you can see me. So I was like, of course you can. I don't know the song name, but I think I know which song you're talking about. Let me share it on my community tab. There's no rain in Rajshahi. The weather is fairly warm, and the clouds did not come. Okay. But it will rain. Hopefully. Hopefully. We need rain when it's so hot. Of course. Of course. Cut it out. Cut it out. Done sharing. And I see two people now. I wonder who just joined. Okay, so Eleanor is watching my stream. Are you busy though? I wish YouTube made that system like whenever I want I can actually make somebody join me, you know? Hello and welcome. But no, you have to start the stream in advance as a collab stream, you know? You can't do that. Like, for example, now I'm streaming, and somebody from my audience wants to join and share a story. So, I just give them the link and they join. But no, that's not the system here. I have to start the stream all, like, in advance as a collab stream. I can't just do that later. That sucks. What were you doing, by the way, Eleanor? Okay, I see 4 people now. It means One is obviously me, Eleanor, Tanvir. No, even that. Like, I'm talking about vertical streams. If you're doing a horizontal stream, you can do that. Yes, yes, they do that, but that's only a thing when you're using an external software. I'm not using an external software. In external software, you can do that, and vertically, it's very normal. But let's say now I'm not using any software, like the ones I usually do. I can't make anybody join now. It's just like this, you know? Yeah, 5 likes, thank you. Here I can't. In the YouTube software, they don't allow. Like, things are very limited when you're using the YouTube software. But the perk is that this is very smooth. This, like, I did try a lot of softwares, as you know, but this gets very smooth when I use them. Like, the music you're seeing, well, sorry, hearing, this is not from the app. I'm just playing the music externally from my computer. Other softwares allow to do those built in, you know, everything. YouTube just gives me some filters and the poll. That's it. Like, without the external software, you can't do that. Okay, so let me just read it. And now I see enough people, so I think I should start it already. Yes, I did have dinner. I did. Suddenly the view count dropped. I wonder why. Okay, so I'll read. But somebody just left, I think. I hope the background music isn't interrupting me much, because it gets loud all of a sudden. The music I'm using today is kinda weird. It's hard to regulate it, you know? The chirping of a bluebird woke Robert out of his blank-eyed stare. His eyes refocused as his old hands went to rub them back into reality. Their disappointed scowl still staring bluntly ahead. Okay. Robert found himself sitting on his porch. He was fatter and older than he ever wanted to be. At a point in life where looking to the future meant buying his casket, and reflection made him worriedly angry and thirsty for a beer. It's like he's traveling to the future, time travel, and he found himself fat and old. Imagine getting curious and visit the future and you find yourself like this. It's gonna be frustrating. I don't think it's always a good idea to visit the future, but it's more fun to visit the past, I guess. Because you can fix things maybe, some way, somehow. But they said, if you change anything from the past, everything changes, so you better not do anything wrong. Or right, nothing at all. You can just see, witness. Okay. His wife was dead. His son Joe called him once a year, and his daughter Carol was addicted to heroin. His past is very messed up. I just didn't tie it today, that's it. She lived out of town and never bothered to visit unless she needed money. Robert had very little to get up and the morning over, and now he had officially lost the last thing he really cared for, right here in front of him. Thank you anyways. So, it's like his future is very, very depressing. A very messy family, a daughter who's basically a drug addict. What about the son? I just forgot already. What about his son Joe called him once a year, okay. Daughter Carol was addicted to heroin. She lived out of town and never bothered to visit unless she needed money. What about wife? What about his... Okay, his wife was dead, right. So, the future is very depressing for him. Something he loved more than most people loved their closest family. It wasn't the Lord. Robert was an atheist and held very little pride in his upbringing. It wasn't money. He lived off a monthly social security check and barely had enough to eat, despite what his potbelly claimed. So he was broke as well, like a very shitty situation. Okay, so it wasn't even pride. Robert was fat, out of shape, he had no money, no respect, no woman. His friends were all dead. With a lifetime of work at a factory that moved to China. He raised 2 ungrateful children and his... Okay, can I say that word out loud? His private part hasn't worked in years. I don't know if... Whenever you're writing a story, you have to be careful with the words, you know? The writing is basically a little bit unprofessional, in my opinion. He raised 2 ungrateful children and his private part hasn't worked in years, you get what I mean. And now he lost the last thing he really had. I don't want to be that guy. Five likes. Robert lost his lawn, something most people consider a chore to be gotten out of the way on their one day off. The lawn was more than that to him. It was a visible sign of prosperity, respect, and work. A man's lawn is what you see before you walk into his castle. The real first impression. It shows who he is deep down. Whether he is a good worker, whether he is too sorry to take care of himself, whether he cares about anything. It matters extremely to Robert. It's like a part of his life. He values it more than anything. Whether a man has enough pride to care for his own lawn. He's not okay in the head, it seems like. Imagine you see your future and it's very depressing for some reason. If this happens, and if I'm allowed to talk to the guy, my future self, I would actually tell him a lot of things. I know, you can't fix yourself, but if you see your depressed self in the future, and you ask, like, what really happened? What did you do wrong? You will be careful after you go back to the past, your present basically, and then you will not do whatever your future self did to deserve this. You know what I mean? It's not you can always fix the present by going to the past, but you can also fix things after going to the future. It's like you can already see what went wrong, and you just basically stay extra careful. Let's say you see yourself doing drugs. You're a drug addict. You're bankrupted. You have nothing. You will go back to the past and you will be scared to do drugs. You know, because you just saw your demise. You just saw everything. Everything is destroyed basically. So yeah, you can do that. So I'm continuing. When Robert bought his house out of the Sears catalog back in his day, he built it on a patch of dirt where nothing grew. Once the house was up the yard, it was still as bought it. Barren, dry, cracked, and riddled with ant hills. I'm loud enough, by the way, right? I don't have to speak too loud. It was his late wife who asked him to do something about it. And from then, if I talk like this, can you hear me still? Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or should I lower my fan? Eleanor, Tanvir, can you hear me if I talk with this? Okay, so I'm loud enough. Do tell me if anything happens. If I lag, if you can't hear me, if there's a glitch, or if I'm paused. It was his wife, late wife, who asked him to do something about it. And from then on, it was history. Robert watered the ground daily until it was just soft enough to plant. He bought fresh sods. Okay, fresh sods. What is a sod? He bought fresh sods in several large rolls that he laid over the barren yard, which took root on the first go, turning the yard from a lifeless scruff of dirt into a respectable lawn in one weekend. Okay, he basically worked hard for this. The land was totally dried, useless, and he basically created something out of it. Robert was proud. Fish sauce. What do you mean by fish sauce? Robert was proud. He watered it daily, replaced patches when needed. Eleanor, your dad take care, I don't know, he takes care of his lawn just like that, right? I don't know that feeling, how it feels to take care of your lawn, because I don't have anything. I live in a building, and we do have a small garden, with the gate, and the guards, the manager, they take care of it. It's not a lawn, basically. It's just a small, tiny garden. We have a garden on our terrace, of course, but they're not considered garden. They're like plants all around, that's it. Not a lawn still. Okay. But I do see it, old men are very sensitive about it. I don't know why. I get it, you're working hard to maintain it. But they're very sensitive. They care about it a lot. A lot more than they should. Robert was proud. He watered it daily, replaced patches when needed, carefully plucked each weed by hand, root and all, Though everything in his life was gone now, his lawn had been there through it all. Hold on a second, but not anymore. I'm having a theory already. He probably buried his wife or other family members, underneath that land. That lawn is like a graveyard or something. I don't know. There was a line in the story. Fish, no, not short, not sauce. It's sod. S-O-D-E, sod. Was it sod or sod? Whatever. Robert didn't know exactly what started it. The lawn had been declining for some 3 years now. It started slow, with seemingly random patches drying out and dying occasionally. Okay? Shotgun throughout the yard. Once the color changed, the patches would die quickly. Something was wrong. The lawn wasn't really getting green. In less than a few days, Robert first thought it was due to a lack of water, but his expensive sprinkles worked as they had for 10 years. He didn't change doing anything. Everything was the same. The weather is good. Still, the lawn isn't growing. What is happening exactly? What could go wrong here? Then he thought they were getting too much, though turning them down didn't help either. Possibly bugs? He couldn't find any. No mounds or hives he could see. No bugs. Robert finally arrived that some fungus or disease was harming them, and he was right. Okay, mystery is kinda solved. Using what little savings he had, Robert bought the appraisal of a botanist who told him that his grass was suffering from a host of parasites. One being blight. What is blight? One being blight, and another nasty one called take all root rot. Hold on a second. On my computer, I see it delayed. So there were some parasites basically. The botanist recommends someone for treatment and Robert paid. Like the rest of his life, things did not work out like he had hoped they would. He'd like to have thought that the first treatment helped a little, even though he couldn't tell. So he's treating it, but he can't really tell if it's working or not. Nice story, but my English is a little difficult to understand, so I can't enjoy the story well. Anyway, you continue, I'm here. It's okay, man. You're learning, you know? You can always learn. You can always learn. According to the botanist, the lawn needed multiple rounds of different pesticides. Okay? Treatments Robert couldn't afford after the first 3. Okay, so Robert can't treat it anymore because his financial situation is not very good. It's not healthy. He's basically a lazy old man. They weren't expensive. That's what hurt his pride the most. It's just he can't afford anything. He was too poor to afford anything above dirt cheap. Okay, so basically Robert is trying to heal his lawn, and he can't do anything anymore because he's basically broke. The treatment isn't very expensive, but because he's poor, he can't do anything else. He can't buy the stuff he needs to. So his lawn, like the rest of what he said, was now gone, dead. Looking over the barren yard, which had no signs of the years of work he put in, disgusted him. He was embarrassed that he couldn't save his lawn. Made Robert think of an old Bible phrase he once heard at a funeral. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Robert cracked a cold beer to quench his thirst. He surely has money to buy beer, but they're not that expensive, I guess. Robert cracked a cold beer to quench his thirst and honor the fallen, staring at a depressing mirror image of his life's work. Yeah, he's an alcoholic, so he basically Lost everything. He lost his wife, his daughter, his son, and the only thing he had was his lawn. He loved the lawn. He worked to make it beautiful for years, and finally he lost the lawn as well. What a life, Robert spoke. Yeah, he is an alcoholic, that's for sure. What a life, Robert spoke. Drinking some to calm his anger, pouring the rest out of respect for the dead. He wanted to yell, to shout, to blame a god he didn't even believe in. Even though he is atheist, he is screaming and blaming the god. However, he was too old to raise a fit if he had the energy he did 10 years ago, so he can't even scream that much. No, 5 years ago he'd torch the whole lawn if he was young and energy was there. Wow, so he is too old and lazy. And weak. Just like everything, it's all gone to shit. I hate my fucking life. His quiet mutters were followed by two teenagers riding their dirt bikes around the old road passing his house. Okay? So he was screaming, he was shouting, blaming God, and two teenagers were passing by. He could hear laughing as one turned too tightly. He could hear laughing as one turned too tightly and scoffed the edge of his lawn to break his top, tearing a hunk of dead grass and dirt from the border. Robert felt his hands clench, clutching the bear with a shaking anger. He wanted to scream at them, hit them hard, even kill them if he could catch one. Wow, that's too aggressive. He was so angry that he couldn't think of anything else beside violence. He lost everything, and he didn't do anything wrong according to him. He doesn't deserve this. Is it a punishment of being an atheist? Luckily for the boys, Robert was still too old, barely able to raise his voice and chase them. Otherwise, he would definitely kill them. He watched in quiet desperation as the two teens rode off without looking at him, leaving the nasty dirt chunk of ripped up yellow grass laying on the road by his mailbox. A nasty hole now sat at the edge of his yard. It was a true sign. Even below the surface of the lawn, it was all dead. What is going on with his life? It's really sad. Fucking ingrates. Robert tossed his beer and felt calmer, still deeply angry but calm, letting simple rage fill him, while seething madness retired for the day. Wanting to take his mind off the reality, Robert spat as he stood up, taking a few steps off his porch. He started to walk around the yard, and he had many times before. In the past, the old man used to box and work outside to keep his health. Nowadays, walking was about the only thing he was confident enough to do without hurting himself. Okay, so he was a boxer at some point, and now he can't even walk. If he did a few laps around his house, his doctor would tell him he did a good job when he saw him next time. That's a crazy downfall. Crazy downfall. A boxer who used to be very fit, used to have a family. Now he has nothing. Nobody. Not even his favorite lawn. And he can't even walk properly anymore. He's just an alcoholic, a lazy, depressed, dead alcoholic. Robert watched the front porch disappear as he turned the corner wall and looked over at the brick side of his home, devoid of anything aside from two windows. He always wanted to put something there but never got around to it. Robert looked ahead. Robert looked ahead, past the wall and more ahead. He was surprised to find a mess of healthy green vines draped down the rocky cliff of the mountain behind his house. It was about 50 yards away. But he suddenly found the energy to hobble faster towards them, passing a barren desert of backyard he'd already given up on. The sight of living healthy green was hopeful. Something he craved to have any crumb to hold on to. What the hell? Robert said that loud. Not caring who could hear him, especially since he lived 30 minutes from town and had no close neighbors. He's like the middle of nowhere. What? Where did this shit come from? What is that? I said that line very overreacting way. Let me say it properly. What? Where did this shit come from? Where is that? Robert marched closer to the vines and took hold of them by hand. They curiously hadn't been here a week ago. No, just days ago these weren't here, he would have noticed. He checked them closely with a pair of highly judgmental old eyes. A stark contrast between the thriving green vine and dry dead grass surrounding Robert pleased him. What? Shit, at least something not too sorry to grow out here, Robert said almost proudly, as if he had something to do with the prosperity of the plant. Rolling the thin vines between his fingers, he squeezed and pulled a little. Not enough to break them, but enough to test their mettle. The leaves and skin of the vine were smooth and soft, yet strong. Robert felt perverted. Why? Robert felt perverted at the comparison that first entered his mind. However, he could recall no other thing which was similar. What is going on? Despite his love of profanity, he didn't dare to speak it out loud for this. Cursing like an old sailor was one thing. However, his thoughts were too personal for his lips to comfortably tattle. It seems like he's like attracted to plants or something. This plant reminded him of Lade's wife's private part. It's really weird. They were soft, very soft, and though for how it looked, so thin and delicate, yet it would take a lot of his strength to rip these vines down. It was like his Nancy. He was getting turned on by a mysterious plant. This is very confusing and absurd at the same time. Robert and Nancy struggled back then. Nancy was his wife, I guess. Robert and Nancy struggled back when they were young. She with the children and he with working to support them all. It was how things were done in the old days. Robert was not like the men from his generation who had no respect for their women. His Nancy was a fighter, strong, beautiful, and thrived in the harshest conditions. Okay. She was a true treasure, his other half, the pillar of the family. When Nancy died, that's when things got bad. Their little Carol got on dope. The Joe left and never looked back. Okay, so you're going out. Alright. Robert hated to admit it, but he couldn't handle the kids without her. She was his rock. Okay, that's good. Back when they were staring... Okay, I think I get it. Back when they were starting out, even when things were at their lowest, she never denied him either. Nancy would let him play in her soft folds as soon as the kids went down, making sure he felt that all those 16-hour shifts were worth every second. These vines were like her. They were worth a damn. I think a lot of Tanvir left. The story is kinda clear now. I'm going to narrate this with my own style, because the way it's written here, it's not very creepy, you know? Yeah, Tanvir left, I think. He usually don't enjoy the English stories much, because he can't understand, you know? And it's very late. It's very late in Bangladesh, so he went to sleep, I think. Okay, let me just... Are you in the car already? Eleanor. I'm going to finish the story anyways. So you're in the car. So the story is clear. Robert is a depressed, old, fat alcoholic. It sounds very wrong to say fat, but that's how they described. So he is an old, fat alcoholic. Used to have a healthy family, a wife, a son, a daughter, a house, and a beautiful lawn. After his wife's death, he couldn't control his kids. They never listened to him. The daughter turned into a hardcore drug addict, and the son left him. He didn't respect him enough. So he misses his wife, of course. But he didn't feel like he lost everything, because he still got his lawn. The lawn him and his wife basically built together. It was like a child. And at some point, the lawn was dying too, and he was so broke to even heal it, to do anything about it. But one day he saw something, some vines from the dead lawn. And that those vines were reminding him of his wife. He was feeling sexually attracted towards the vines. That's the story in a nutshell. You know? Let's continue. It's not creepy so far, you know? So Robert and Nancy struggled back when they were young, she with the children and he with working to support them. Okay, it's now the next part. He used to work hard and he was a boxer. 16 hours of work, he said. Like, he used to be out for 16 hours. Robert let go of the vines and stepped back to get a good look at them. They were far longer than he initially thought, stretching down the full length of the vertical bluff of the mountain behind his home. So he's like pulling. He's like pulling it to see the length of the vine. Robert figured from eyeballing. Okay, sorry, I lost the middle part. So he's stretching down the full length of the vertical bluff of the mountain behind his home. Robert figured from eyeballing it that they must be at least 100 feet. With the road draped over the cliffside, he couldn't see their start. So God only knew how large they really were. Robert racked his brain trying to think of what on earth these were called. He knew of them. They've grown all over the place since before he was born. Always around where wild plants grew. Robert recalled someone telling him once that the government introduced them to help the mountains fight off erosion. It was on the tip of his tongue. Kaikoku. What the fuck was that word? He's trying to remember the name of that vine. Kuku, kudzu. Sorry, it just vibrated. Kaikoku. What the fuck was that word? Kuku, kudzu. Kudzu, that's it. Robert practically shouted. He was excited for the first time in years. He felt it was the beginning of something. Seeing nothing else to do, Robert started back to the house, where he kept his wallet and library card, planning to use the chance to get his steps in and to go learn more about the strange vine, which was strong and soft, just like his wife. The story is very weird. So where are you at this moment? Are you out already? You're in the car, I know. Something is wrong with those streams. You know what? I think I'm gonna end the stream now. Tomorrow I'll try it again with the same story. It happens. Whenever I stream after a break, it just doesn't reach anyone. YouTube is like figuring it out. You know, YouTube forgets the previous audience, so they don't notify. And today is Sunday, so nobody's using YouTube much. They're like outside. No, I asked, are you outside already? Okay, it's fine, it's fine. I know you're in the car. What I said was, if you're already outside. I mean, you're outside the house, I know. I mean, on the streets. And I was saying that I'm going to end the stream now. I am going to end the stream. Today the stream didn't reach anyone, just 2 to 3 people. Tomorrow it will reach more. This happens. That's what I was saying. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. That suddenly, like after a long break, when you stream, this happens. So tomorrow I'll stream once again. Today was just a revisit. So I'm ending the stream, okay? Bye bye.